Just when it seemed like Rangers were done with their summer transfer business, a twist behind the scenes has set the stage for a surprise move that could shake up Russell Martin's plans. The Ibrox board, who only days ago looked content to stick with what they had, are suddenly working at pace to bring in a player that nobody really saw coming. With the transfer window edging closer to slamming shut, the urgency has cranked up, and the next signing could be one of the most talked about of the summer. It's not just about filling a position. It's about sending a statement that the club is still willing to take risks in order to change the trajectory of their season. The need for that change is glaringly obvious after yet another frustrating afternoon in the league. A 1-1 draw against Dundee might not look catastrophic on paper, but for Rangers fans who expected a comfortable win, it was another painful reminder of how fragile domestic form has become. The match carried an oddly familiar tone, the kind that longtime followers of the club have experienced far too often. The same lack of urgency in the opening stages, the same struggle to turn possession into clear-cut chances, and the same post-match explanations that sound reasonable in the moment but rarely lead to immediate improvement. Cyril Desires once again, left to front up to the media after points were dropped, tried to explain what went wrong. His words weren't empty. He acknowledged that Rangers had control in the first half without ever really stepping on the gas, and that this lack of ruthlessness was costing them. He spoke about needing more aggression, more courage to try the risky pass or the decisive shot, instead of recycling the ball in safe areas. For him, the problem is not that the team lacks ability, it's that they only show their full intensity in bursts, and too often only after going a man down or chasing the game late on. Martin's challenge is enormous. This is not the closing chapter of his reign where a manager's message has gone stale and change is inevitable. This is the very start, the stage where optimism should still be fresh and ideas should still be exciting. Yet he's already having to deal with the weight of expectation that comes with managing Rangers, an expectation that leaves no patience for teething problems. The fans have been here before, and their patience is running thin. It's not that they don't believe in Martin's long-term vision, but the here and now matters just as much as the seasons to come. And so the conversation inevitably turns to recruitment. Despite a summer that has already seen several new faces arrive, the club is now on the verge of finalizing a deal for Real Betis defender Mendy. At just 20 years old, Mendy is still a raw talented player with only a handful of senior appearances in Spain, but also one with the athleticism and potential to grow into a mainstay if nurtured correctly. He can operate as both a centre-back and a left-back, a versatility that immediately makes him an attractive option for Martin, especially given the uncertainty surrounding his current defensive options. The price tag, in the region of £5 million, is significant for a player so early in his career. It's the kind of gamble that could either transform the defense or end up as a costly reminder of the risks involved in buying potential, rather than proven quality. For a club that has already posted a financial loss this year, every pound has to count, and every transfer needs to be justified not just in the boardroom, but on the pitch. Still, the fact that negotiations have advanced so quickly suggests the belief in Mendy's long-term value is strong enough to outweigh the short-term doubts. If the move goes through, Mendy will join a defensive overhaul that has already included Max Aarons-Naraj and Emmanuel Fernandez. Yet despite the influx of new signings, the backline still feels like a work in progress. The left-back spot in particular remains a thorn in Rangers' side. Neither Ridvan Yilmaz nor Borna Barisic managed to truly lock down the position last season, and now both find themselves linked with moves away from Glasgow. Reports from Brazil claim that Palmeiras are negotiating for Barisic in a deal worth between £4.3 and £5.1 million. Losing him would leave Yilmaz as the only natural left-back in the squad, and even that feels uncertain, given that Martin has yet to start him in a competitive match. Shuffling Max Aarons across to cover on the left is an option in theory, but reality tells a different story. His difficult night against Facundo Pellistri in the Champions League qualifier was a harsh reminder that not every fullback can seamlessly swap flanks at the highest level. This leaves Martin facing the real possibility of entering September without a single fully trusted left back. For a team that wants to compete on multiple fronts, that is not just inconvenient, it's potentially disastrous. The clock is ticking. The transfer window closes on the 1st of September, giving Rangers only a matter of weeks to plug these gaps and give Martin the tools he needs to steady the ship. The season has barely started, but already the sense of urgency is palpable. Domestic. Slip-ups have put pressure on the new manager, while European fixtures have shown flashes of what the team can do when confidence and aggression align. The problem is consistency, being able to replicate the same intensity in every competition every week, regardless of the opponent or the venue. In that sense, Mendy's potential arrival could be about more than just adding another defender. It could be a statement about the kind of squad Martin wants to build. Young, athletic, adaptable, and willing to learn. It's a risk, no doubt, but it's also an opportunity to shape the team's identity for years to come. Whether it pays off will depend not just on Mendy's adaptation, but on whether Rangers can finally break the cycle of sluggish starts and late reactions that have haunted them in the league. If Martin can fix that, the story of this season could look very different by the time spring rolls around. What has become painfully clear in recent weeks is that Rangers cannot afford to let these patterns linger. The opening stages of too many league matches are played with a handbrake on, as if the team is waiting for the opposition to make a mistake rather than forcing the issue themselves. It's a dangerous habit, especially in the Scottish Premiership, where sides lower in the table will happily soak up pressure and play for the moments when Rangers switch off. That's precisely what Dundee did. And while they might not have been brimming with confidence after their own poor cup exit, they had enough resilience to frustrate and then punish their hosts. The turning point in the match, oddly enough, came when Rangers went down to 10 men. Naraj's sending off around the hour mark could have been the moment Dundee put the game to bed, but instead it lit a fire under the home side. Suddenly the passes were sharper, the movement more urgent, and the crowd, who had been growing restless, began to roar their encouragement. It was this wave of pressure that finally led to James Tavernier's penalty in stoppage time. But the equalizer arrived too late to spark a full turnaround. By then, Dundee had their backs to the wall and were not about to hand over the 3 points. For Russell Martin, the challenge is working out why his players need the jolt of adversity before they start playing with real purpose. In Europe, where the stakes and the spotlight are bigger, Rangers have shown they can be proactive from the first whistle. That confidence, that willingness to play with ambition and take risks has been visible against continental opponents, and yet it evaporates all too often in the domestic grind. Martin himself knows the margins are fine, but at Rangers the demands are absolute. Winning isn't enough. It's about controlling games, dominating them, and doing so week after week. The reality is that there's no time for gradual improvement. Supporters have heard managers talk about building towards something before, and many are weary of the cycle. They want immediate signs that the same old pitfalls are being addressed. This is why the potential signing of no Mendy has been met with intrigue rather than unqualified excitement. Supporters can see the logic. Young, athletic, capable of covering multiple positions. But they also see the risk. He's not a battle-tested defender arriving to anchor the backline from day one. He's a project, someone who might take time to adapt. And Rangers don't really have that time. Still, there's something in Martin's approach that suggests he wants to set the foundation now, even if it means living with short-term uncertainty. Bringing in players with versatility, pace, and potential upside fits a bigger vision. The question is whether those qualities will help him navigate the here and now, especially in a season where even an early wobble can have massive consequences in the title race. Celtic's consistency in recent years has left Rangers with no margin for error. Every dropped point isn't just a setback, it's an opening for their biggest rivals to pull away. The left-back situation only amplifies the stakes. If Borna Barisic departs and Ridvan Yilmaz remains out of favor, Rangers could find themselves relying on makeshift solutions in a position that has already been a weakness. Opposition analysts will target that side relentlessly, forcing Martin to either patch it up with squad players or push for yet another late signing. Even if Mendy arrives asking a young defender with limited senior football to immediately solve such a problem, could be unrealistic. Inside the dressing room, these uncertainties can have an effect too. Players know when the squad isn't balanced. They know when certain areas are vulnerable, and they can feel when the rhythm of the team isn't quite right. That's where leadership becomes critical. Tavernier has long been the voice of experience in the side, but he can't carry the burden alone. Martin needs his new signings to integrate quickly and add their voices, their urgency to the mix. Confidence isn't just about winning games. It's about feeling that the squad has every base covered, that no matter who is in the starting 11, there's a plan that plays to their strengths. The financial picture also adds a layer of tension. Rangers' reported £7 million loss this year means that every transfer will be scrutinized heavily. Supporters understand that investment is necessary to challenge at the highest level, but they also expect those investments to be smart and impactful. A £5 million signing who sits on the bench or struggles to adapt will be used as ammunition by critics. On the other hand, if Mendy quickly becomes a dependable part of the squad, the narrative shifts completely and the risk looks like foresight. All of this unfolds against the backdrop of a season that is still young but already feels like it's at a crossroads. The performances so far haven't been disastrous, but they haven't been convincing either. In the Scottish Premiership, where momentum is everything, that's a dangerous place to be. Every fixture becomes a test not just of quality, but a mentality. Can this team put the European swagger into a cold, windy afternoon in Dundee or Perth? Can they find that extra 5 or 10% in the opening half hour instead of waiting? Until desperation sets in, Martin's answers to these questions will come as much from the training ground as from the transfer market. He talks about aggression, about courage, about taking risks in possession. These aren't just tactical instructions. They're about mindset. The players have to believe that they can force games open, that the reward outweighs the risk. Against a deep defensive block, that belief is often the difference between a breakthrough goal and another 90 minutes of frustration. As the window ticks down, the pieces of the puzzle are still moving. Mendy's arrival would be another statement that Martin isn't done shaping this squad. The potential exit of Barisic, the uncertainty over Yilmaz, and the lingering need for another attacking spark will hang over the coming weeks. If Rangers can navigate this period without losing ground in the league and while adding the right reinforcements, the season could still swing in their favor. If not, the pressure will only intensify and the margin for error, already slim, will shrink to nothing. It's a precarious moment, but it's also an opportunity. The frustration of the Dundee draw the restless mood among supporters and the urgency in the boardroom all point to a club on the brink of making decisions that will define their campaign. Whether those decisions lead to stability or more turbulence will depend on execution. On and off the pitch, Martin has spoken about consistency being the next step. The challenge is making that consistency a reality before the season story is written, without him holding the pen. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Rumors are swirling across Glasgow this week as word spreads that Rangers FC have allegedly secured the services of none other than England international Harry Maguire in what could prove to be one of the most surprising transfer developments of the season. The chatter began late on Tuesday evening when a series of cryptic social media posts from well-connected football insiders hinted at an experienced Premier League centre-back boarding a private flight bound for Scotland. While no official confirmation has been made by the Ibrox hierarchy, several eyewitness accounts claim to have spotted a tall, broad-shouldered figure leaving Glasgow Airport under heavy escort. Supporters have been quick to speculate, with many convinced the silhouette in question could only belong to Maguire, whose unmistakable frame and gait have become instantly recognizable. If true, the move would represent a statement of intent from manager Philippe Clement, signaling that Rangers are determined to tighten their defensive line ahead of a crucial run of fixtures in both domestic and European competition. Rival fans remain skeptical, dismissing the reports as exaggerated nonsense. But in football, rumors like these often contain a kernel of truth that grows harder to ignore as the days go by. The potential arrival of Maguire at Ibrox would undoubtedly ignite debates about the long-term vision of Rangers' defensive strategy. The former Manchester United captain, known for his aerial dominance and physical presence, could bring a wealth of experience to a backline that has occasionally looked vulnerable under high pressure. Sources close to the club whisper that Clement has been searching for a leader at the back, someone capable of organizing the defense and guiding younger players through tense matches. Maguire's track record with the England national team, particularly during major tournaments, would offer the kind of composure and resilience that Scottish Premiership football often demands. Of course, there are those who question whether Maguire's style would adapt seamlessly to the faster, more physical pace north of the border. But others believe his game intelligence and reading of play would more than compensate. Financially, the logistics remain mysterious, with some insiders claiming a short-term loan deal has been structured in such a way that United would continue covering a portion of his wages, easing any strain on Rangers' budget. The speculation alone has set forums and fan channels ablaze, with heated discussions ranging from tactical formations to how Maguire might fare in an Old Firm derby atmosphere. While some supporters dream of Maguire's towering figure commanding the heart of the Rangers' defense, others remain cautious, pointing to the defender's mixed fortunes in recent seasons. Critics recall his struggles at Old Trafford, where intense scrutiny and high-profile errors sometimes overshadowed his otherwise solid contributions. Yet in Glasgow, the narrative could be different. The Scottish game, while equally passionate, might offer him the kind of fresh start that rejuvenates a player's confidence and form. Observers note that the Premiership's more direct style could play to Maguire's strengths, allowing him to dominate aerial duels and clear danger with authority. There is also the question of leadership. Rangers have been searching for an authoritative voice at the back, particularly in high-stakes European nights when organization and discipline can be the difference between progress and disappointment. The buzz is that Clement sees Maguire not only as a defensive reinforcement, but as a potential mentor for emerging talents within the squad. Whether these whispers are grounded in reality or simply the product of wishful thinking remains to be seen. But the possibility has undeniably captured the imagination of the blue half of Glasgow. Behind the scenes, speculation about how Maguire's possible move might impact the dressing room dynamic has been just as lively as the tactical debates. Some insiders suggest that his arrival could energize senior players who recognize the value of competing alongside an England regular, while others hint at potential friction if game time becomes a delicate balancing act. In a squad where competition for places is fierce, any high-profile signing inevitably raises questions about who might be relegated to the bench. Still, the allure of pairing Maguire with existing defensive stalwarts is tantalizing for supporters envisioning a solid, almost impenetrable backline. The rumored transfer has even sparked discussion among former Rangers players, with several pundits suggesting that such a move would be vintage Ibrox, recalling past occasions when the club made ambitious, attention-grabbing signings to galvanize the fan base. In pubs across Glasgow, conversations about Maguire's potential debut have already begun, complete with predictions of thunderous headers from set pieces and crunching tackles in the heart of defense. Whether the talk turns into reality or fades into the realm of transfer folklore, it's already serving its purpose, fueling excitement, raising anticipation, and keeping Rangers firmly in the spotlight during a crucial period. As the days pass, without official confirmation, the rumor mill shows no sign of slowing down. Every training ground photograph, every social media update, and every ambiguous comment from club representatives is being dissected for hidden meaning by eager supporters and skeptical rivals alike. Transfer gossip in Scottish football has always thrived on this kind of intrigue, where the line between truth and fabrication blurs, and this latest Maguire story fits perfectly into that tradition. Some journalists have hinted that the club may be deliberately keeping things quiet to avoid disrupting negotiations, while others believe the entire saga might be an elaborate smokescreen masking a completely different signing. Regardless, sense of possibility has reignited a level of buzz around Rangers that hasn't been felt in months. For a fan base that thrives on big occasions and bold moves, the mere idea of Maguire striding onto the Ibrox turf in blue is enough to stir both hope and curiosity. If the deal does materialize, it will be analyzed, debated, and remembered for years. If it doesn't, it will join the long list of Scottish football's great what-if transfer tales. A story retold every January and summer when the rumor season returns. Greetings, fans. make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.